as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON.
All right, coming up this hour, we'll talk about some more legislative action from over the weekend, from lame duck session of the Illinois State House before a new General Assembly is seated. And you've got also inauguration happening today. The gun ban bill could come up in a committee and possible floor vote in the Senate. How does that differ from the House version? Tons more to get to, including sex ed standards, mail-in voting, and even wind farms. All right, so that's just some of what we're getting to this hour here with Springfield's Morning News. You can always chime in live and local at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here. I'm Greg Bishop. It is Springfield's Morning News, now at 7:04 on WMAY.
News.
Weather.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Congresswoman Mary Miller says the recent fight over Kevin McCarthy's election as House Speaker resulted in an historic victory for conservatives. Miller says she and 19 other holdouts engineered rules changes that will give conservatives the power to make direct budget cuts, cap spending, and end COVID mandates and funding for them. The deal will also lead to the creation of a committee to address the so-called weaponization of the federal government, which may involve looking into ongoing criminal investigations with the Department of Justice. In sports, even though the Chicago Bears lost again on Sunday, there's a silver lining in the clouds of a 3-14 season. The Bears will have the overall #1 pick in the NFL draft for the first time since 1947. The Bears got some help from their former coach as Lovie Smith's Houston Texans got a win on Sunday, which dropped the Texans to #2 in the draft and cleared the top spot for the Bears. According to Mayor Jim Langfelder, the owner of the Wyndham City Center in downtown Springfield is still hoping to convert some of the hotel units to apartments and to attract a new major brand for the remaining hotel operation. Under the hotel's current zoning, the Wyndham's owner could convert half of its 400 units to apartments. Langfelder says the owner is hoping to sign with Marriott, which would alleviate the city's concerns about maintaining adequate hotel capacity downtown. The mayor says more details on the Wyndham's status could come out in a couple of weeks. Just days ahead of his second inauguration, Governor J.B. Pritzker and First Lady M.K. Pritzker took part in a day of community service at the Central Illinois Food Bank in Springfield. The food bank provides food to pantries assisting families across Central Illinois. The food bank is also one of the beneficiaries of ticket sales for the governor's inaugural ball Monday night. Pritzker will be sworn in starting at 11:30 Monday morning at the BOS Center. We'll have live coverage here on 92.7 WMAY. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by CBD Botanicals. Visit CBD Botanicals in Springfield and Edwardsville. Online at cbdbotanicals.com.
When winter weather presents traveling challenges, SMTD is a convenient commuting alternative. The reliable SMTD fleet is warmed up and ready to go. No more early morning shoveling or scraping. You're just steps away from a stop. Check smtd.org for routes and schedules, then board an affordable, clean, climate-controlled SMTD bus. It'll take you to work, school, doctor's appointments, and beyond. Avoid driving and parking hassles and arrive on schedule with less stress. SMTD, your convenient commuting alternative. SMTD, moving together.
Well, we're not quite done just yet. Brian Lauer here, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I know I did. It was the last retail Christmas season for me. See, I've been in retail since I was in 8th grade. But don't say goodbye just yet. We still have inventory to sell. So, we may be open another couple of weeks or till it's gone. Bring your Christmas cash and save big. Hours are 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, in the beautiful Montvale Junction Shopping Center on West Isles.
If you're in need of care, that's all you should be concerned about, not the hassles of out-of-pocket cost or whether your doctor is in network. We've heard you. Springfield Clinic Advantage, an employer health plan designed locally with a real understanding of the healthcare needs of the patients in our community. A plan that guarantees you'll never be out of network with your Springfield Clinic doctors again. Your doctors, your health plan, your advantage. Visit springfieldclinic.com/advantage.
At Adams Pest Control, we continue to be voted #1 because we take pride in our customer service and retention. We appreciate our customers' loyalty, and that is why we return the loyalty by working with our customers on their budgets and continue to hold our prices with no increase in almost 20 years. To see why our customers continue to choose us and vote us number one, call Adams Pest Control today, 544-2122, and see what a local family-owned company is all about.
Get today's headlines delivered to your inbox every morning. Subscribe now at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 46. Cloudy tonight with a low of 35. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 46, low around 37. Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 52. Rain arriving Wednesday night and a low of 34. Thursday, rain likely with a high near 40. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high near 35. And Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 38. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi there. I'm here to tell you a little about this new program called Safe to Help Illinois.
Maybe you know somebody who's being bullied, or worse, thinking about hurting themselves or others. If you don't feel safe telling an adult about the things that are happening around you, check out Safe to Help.
Safe to Help is not about snitching or getting someone in trouble. It's about helping one another out.
You can call, you can text.
You can download the free mobile app, and it's all over social media.
So what do you say? Let's give it a try.
Brought to you by IEMA.
It's the 23rd annual Coors Light Frozen Open coming Saturday, January 14th. It's the Lake Club's golf tournament for charity. Register at any one of the participating Lake Clubs. Tee-off begins at 10:30 at the club where you register. Cost is $50 per foursome or $12.50 per person. Food is available at most clubs along with $2.50 Coors Light. And the good times continue at the Prop Club after party starting at 5:30, featuring door prizes and music from Drew Aschenbrenner. It's the 23rd annual Coors Light Frozen Open coming Saturday, January 14th from your friends at Coors Light.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Lame duck session's been anything but lame. We will talk later this hour about the new updates for the gun ban bill that we thought would happen late last night in the Illinois Senate, but it didn't happen. They instead passed a measure to increase lawmaker pay alongside $1.7+ billion of spending your tax dollars. But a whole host of other things have happened since late Thursday into Friday when the House passed their gun ban bill, to Saturday being canceled, and then Sunday the Senate coming in and changing that gun bill, but all kinds of things happening in between with other legislation, and that's kind of what we'll cover right now. You can always chime in live and local at 217-629-7970. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com or find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just subscribe there. You can stay updated here and comment all over the place with all those channels. But let's go ahead and get into it. Late Thursday, we hadn't yet to cover this, but late Thursday in a Senate committee, legislation advanced mandating Illinois schools teach sex ed in all grades. Now, if you remember several years ago, I think it was Senate Bill 818 that had a lot of controversy around it because it would have brought about the state of Illinois to follow the National Sex Ed Standards, which is this quasi-private group that also deals with some health agencies of sorts, but it's the National Sex Education Standards, the Core Content and Skills K through 12, second edition, or whatever iteration they're in now. But ultimately, ultimately, it breaks down a whole bunch of different, what they say is age-appropriate topics for K through 12 to teach sex ed. So several years ago, in the State House, they approved Senate Bill 818 that required these sex ed standards, age-appropriate, they said. But others pushed back and said that they weren't age-appropriate and borderline pornographic, and they wanted local school districts to have the choice. A couple of years ago, Senate Bill 818 did that. It gave local school districts that choice. But they were looking to change that. In a Senate committee, they brought up House Bill 5188, an amendment that was brought forward by State Senator Ron Villavalum out of Chicago. He wants to now mandate the sex education standards for K through 12 for all public schools. That was met with pushback from State Senator Sue Rezin, State Senator Terry Bryant, and even Democratic State Senator Linda Holmes. We'll hear that now, the back and forth, the exchange during the Senate committee late Thursday, when they ultimately went through and decided to pass out of committee this legislation to require sex ed standards across the states in each K through 12 school.
The Illinois State Board of Education survey of school districts that has recently occurred, nearly 70% of school districts that responded to the survey in Illinois do not provide personal health and safety education or sex health education to their students during school year 2021 to 2022. I believe all students in Illinois all Illinois public school students need and deserve age-appropriate, medically accurate, and inclusive instruction that will affirm them and help them to be safe and healthy. That's what this legislation here does today.
The standards went too far, and that's why we are seeing tremendous pushback by the school districts and their school boards, and we believe in local control because what's acceptable in certain areas of the school may not happen in other states.
Look, it's 10:46.
I understand.
In lame duck session, and there's nobody here from ISB. And we're talking about ISB standards, and no one's here. I would ask you to pull the bill until ISB at least can be here to testify. When you're having it at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, having a committee at 10:30 at night, and there's nobody here from ISB, that's scandalous. That's what makes people of Illinois hate our government. And it's not right. And you're better than this.
My concern in seeing this bill, and I'm really upset with this because I've been talking with a lot of my friends who are teachers, and what I keep getting back is literally, if the state of Illinois passes another mandate, we're already not meeting all the mandates that we have because, quite frankly, there aren't enough hours in the school day to do it and still teach math and science and English and the education that our kids need. I guess I'm just saying we almost need to take a step back and let's take a look at all the mandates we're imposing upon our schools and find out, is there any way to really fit them into a day or the week or whatever in order to cover them all? And I'm just not sure there is. So I, quite frankly, while I am all for age-appropriate sex education, really am concerned about adding another mandate.
So again, that was some opposition being voiced by not just Republicans, but also a Democratic state senator to more unfunded mandates, but some saying that the standards go too far. For instance, you've got kindergartners that will learn about consent and gender identity, hormone blockers and healthy relationships. Middle schoolers will learn about dating, violence prevention, different types of sex and sexual harassment, and high schoolers would learn more about their bodies, pregnancy, and sexual health. Some parents will be able to opt out of it, but it would be mandated across the states at public schools. So that's just one bill that they are looking to advance. We'll keep an eye on where exactly that goes. But another measure that did pass both chambers deals with a change on how county clerks who manage local elections can verify signatures on a mail-in ballot. As it is right now, the clerk has to verify a signature on the mail-in ballot with the voter roll file that has your signature. When you go in personally and as an individual to your polling place, physically in the polling place, you have to sign a piece of paper. They compare that with what's on the voting record, and then they give you your ballot. Mail-in voting, since they expanded it, you have universal mail-in balloting. So it's a standing application, but you also have, you can each election request a mail-in ballot, and on that you have a signature. Well, there are some problems, especially out of one particular county that had the clerk looking at just the application, not the voter roll to match the signature. So lawmakers, they apparently decided to go ahead and change election law to allow for the signature to be verified from the mail-in ballot application. We heard this back and forth on Friday afternoon as the House debated this. You'll hear State Representative Curtis Tarver, State Representative Amy Ellick, and State Representative Ryan Spain going back and forth about this provision to change which signature county clerks can look at when it comes to mail-in voting.
And then additionally, with vote by mail, there's an opportunity, which we believe there's always been the opportunity for this, we're clarifying it now, to check the voter registration or the signature on the application as it relates to the ballot for vote by mail. Our thought in the language is that it would allow for both that digitized as well as the original placard of voter registration. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I think that then the language that's crossed out in this bill should not be crossed out, but maybe a little bit more specific, so that, because the way that we're reading this now is that it is okay to compare a mail-in ballot certification signature with the application. And as we've discussed, and I think was probably on the record in the circuit court case in DuPage County, that's an obvious avenue for voter fraud. That if someone receives the, hey, do you want to do a mail-in ballot at their home, they could fill that in for a family member, request the ballot, sign it themselves, get the ballot, vote the ballot, sign the ballot certification, send it back. And if that ballot comes back and all they're comparing it to is the application, that's not a comparison at all. So I want to make that clear that this is not going to. This is causing the opportunity for more voter fraud.
And now by diluting it, by weakening it, by eliminating a requirement to follow that source document, as another member mentioned just moments ago, we are weakening the protections of our elections. And folks, it doesn't have to be this way. I would love to be in a situation where the state of Illinois for voting is not relying on election judges and their signature matchup expertise to make sure that we have done all that we can to reduce voter fraud. There's a way to do it. We should not be relying on signatures in the state of Illinois. What we should be doing is what most states in our country do. Red states, blue states, swing states, the vast majority of states in the United States have a simple fix, and it's voter ID. You show an ID when you go to vote.
So state lawmakers did advance that, and I delved a bit into some numbers I got from the State Board of Elections when it comes to mail-in voting, and it showed more than 30,700 mail-in ballots in Illinois from the November election were rejected. So the numbers, 2.2 million mail-in ballots were requested, 657 were returned, 626,300 were counted. That's a difference of around 30,700 votes that were tossed out after some clerks saw either it was late or didn't have the right signature or so on. I have to go back and review how that differs from previous elections with mail-in balloting, and if there seems to be an increased number of percentage of mail-in ballots that are rejected and what exactly that may portend. So stay tuned. Much more coming up here. Of course, I want to get your phone calls about all of this here with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. All right, stay tuned. We've got more coming up, including what the state legislature is looking to do about counties and whether they can restrict certain amounts of renewable energy projects. So stay tuned for that. But let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast. Today, you're looking at a high of around 46 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and the low of 35 with cloudy skies tonight. Sunshine Tuesday with a high of 46. Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high of 52. Thursday, a chance of rain or snow with a high up to 40. And then Friday, partly sunny with a high of 35. Right now, 23 degrees at 722 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
This is Jim over at CBD Botanicals. We are the second year in a row now sponsoring the Little Red Wagon with Christina Yock Farmers Insurance.
Hi there, this is Christina Yock with Farmers Insurance in Verdon, and we are here today at CBD Botanicals, who are one of our sponsors for our second annual Little Red Wagon donation station. We are collecting presents for shelter pets in the local area.
Some of the more needed items for this Little Red Wagon are blankets, food, and toys. The food is really important too, because I love to eat. Dogs do too.
We're going to be collecting your donations all of this month of December and through the second week of January.
While you're stopping by to donate, don't forget we also have pet items as well, whether it be a tincture or a treat or otherwise. And of course, bring your pet too, because Tatum always likes meeting new friends.
You can also go to Wagner Chiropractic and Wellness Center in Springfield, Chatham area, Dr. Sammy. Pet doctor in Rochester, Dr. Emily. Feel free to stop on by Farmers Insurance in Verdon and see me and our local pub Coraline, or again, CBD Botanicals, Tatum.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
Save up to $600 during Verlo's clearance sale.
Right now, during the Verlo Mattress Clearance Sale, you can save even more with Verlo's already low consumer direct prices. Oh, you'll find phenomenal savings on floor models and discontinued mattresses. And all our mattresses are made locally, just for you, and are backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Oh, but you better hurry. The sale ends soon. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just 2 options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
Yes, you got that right.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
The WMAY Daily Poll is sponsored by Adams Pest Control for commercial, residential, real estate inspections, and termite control. Cast your vote with the WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/poll.
It's an easy yes or no poll. Will Kevin McCarthy serve full 2-term years of the U.S. House speakership? Yes or no? It looks like 84% of you say yes. Go vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. It's brought to you by Adams Pest Control.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 92.7 WMAY.
We've been talking about some of the action at the Illinois State House over the weekend with lame duck session, and still to come this hour, we will talk about the proposed gun ban and gun bill that's in the Illinois Senate now after the House passed a version. So that's coming up with your phone calls. But they had a lot of action over the weekend, including dealing with wind farms and renewable energy projects and what kind of regulations local counties can put into place to regulate these projects. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on WMAY, and let's go ahead and now hear the debate on the Senate floor yesterday that dealt with saying that counties can't do certain things when it comes to regulating wind farms. You'll hear State Senator Bill Cunningham explain his bill, but then State Senator Chapin Rose, he blasts the measure on a variety of different fronts, including worrying about the wind farms not being able to allow weather radars to track tornadoes. So here's just some of that debate on the Senate floor late yesterday here with WMAY.
We have a number of areas in the state, in the prime regions, particularly for wind development in the state, that have very reasonable siting rules, and we've seen all sorts of development. We have other counties that have much more restrictive rules in place, and that has stymied development. And that's what we're trying to address in this bill by allowing for local input, but putting guardrails on how restrictive those siting requirements can be.
We got plenty of this. If you let it work, you'll get plenty more, but it will be in places where locally elected officials have said, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to put it there. In one study, they estimated 573,000 birds were killed in a year at a single 51,000 megawatt installation. Of those, 83,000 were raptor birds. Why is that important? Because they're the ones that keep all the other species in check. They're the ones who eat mice and rats that prevent vermin from spreading disease. Oh, monarch butterflies? Let's screw that up too. Why is that important? Because we need to eat.
So that was a little bit of the debate back and forth. Measure was approved by the Senate and now can be taken up by the House for their consideration. The final day of lame duck session is Tuesday. So a lot of action on a variety of different fronts, from sex ed standards to mail-in voting to wind farms and county regulation. Plus, don't forget that lawmaker pay raise that both chambers approved. That can now be sent to the governor for him to sign himself a raise, along with other constitutional officers and executive agency directors. So those are just some of the things. But coming up next, we will talk with you about the latest iteration of a gun control bill. So stay tuned. That's next here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. It is now 7:31. Here's a check of headlines.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Snow and damaging winds swept into the northern part of California Sunday. The system precedes a series of incoming storms this week that raised the potential for flooding, rising rivers, and mudslides on soils already saturated after days of rain. In the state capital, more than 60,000 customers were still without electricity after gusts topping 60 miles per hour knocked down power lines. A major highway in the eastern Sierra was closed because of whiteout conditions. The storms won't be enough to officially end California's ongoing drought, but they have helped. In sports, even though the Chicago Bears lost again on Sunday, there's a silver lining in the clouds of a 3-14 season. The Bears will have the overall number 1 pick in the NFL draft for the first time since 1947. The Bears got some help from their former coach as Lovie Smith's Houston Texans got a win on Sunday, which dropped the Texans to number 2 in the draft and cleared the top spot for the Bears. Firefighters were called to a home on White Birch Drive Saturday morning for a report of a garage fire. By the time crews arrived, flames from the attached garage had gotten into the attic of the home. Firefighters used salvage covers to protect belongings in the home while they worked to put out the fire, but there was extensive damage. No one was hurt, but a dog was killed in the blaze. The Red Cross is assisting one person who was displaced by the fire, and the cause is under investigation. A holiday DUI detail by Sangamon County Sheriff's deputies resulted in more than 50 citations, although none for actual drunk driving. The Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign ran from December 16th through January 2nd. The high-profile detail may have served as a deterrent for driving under the influence, as it resulted in 31 speeding tickets, 16 seatbelt violations, 3 car seat violations, 2 citations for distracted driving, and 3 tickets for driving on a suspended license. In addition, 3 people were arrested on outstanding warrants during the traffic initiative. Sangamon County and state officials are in a dispute over the transfer of mentally ill county jail inmates to state psychiatric facilities. Pending legislation would extend the time given to the state to identify placements for those inmates from 20 days to 60 days or longer. Sheriff Jack Campbell says that would create even more problems for jail inmates and staff. Governor Pritzker's office says the state has been working to add more psychiatric beds, but with mental health referrals at an all-time high, everyone has to work together to find solutions to the problem. Congresswoman Mary Miller says the recent fight over Kevin McCarthy's election as House Speaker resulted in an historic victory for conservatives. Miller says she and 19 other holdouts engineered rules changes that will give conservatives the power to make direct budget cuts, cap spending, and end COVID mandates and funding for them. The deal will also lead to the creation of a committee to address the so-called weaponization of the federal government, which may involve looking into ongoing criminal investigations with the Department of Justice. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery. Now open next door to Obed and Isaac's in downtown Springfield.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Memorial Health would like to talk to you about a career in healthcare. Now through the end of January, Memorial is hosting a series of hiring events for multiple departments. Come learn about our available positions, as well as some of the biggest hiring incentives we've ever offered, like limited time hiring bonuses for RNs and PCTs. Virtual sessions are available, but hurry, space is limited. Register now at jobs.memorial.health/events. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
Step away from the hectic pace of life for 30 seconds and let me tell you about Elkhart Station. You'll find Elkhart Station located in the heart of Elkhart, Illinois, where nostalgia meets small-town charm. Search the fun and unique handcrafted products and everyday necessities, including food and beverages from the state of Illinois. Let your taste buds decide which of the local beer, wine, and crafted spirits are the best in the tasting room experience. For more information, visit conshg.com.
everywhere with the WMAY app. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 46. Cloudy tonight with a low of 35. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 46. Low around 37. Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 52. Rain arriving Wednesday night and a low of 34. Thursday, rain likely with a high near 40. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high near 35. And Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 38. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by BLH Computers in Springfield, Jacksonville, and Taylorville. Online at blhcomputers.com.
Springfield has so many must-see destinations when you come to visit, such as the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, Bicentennial Plaza, and don't forget 7th Street Cidery. Yes, 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery, is quickly becoming a destination for their great selection of locally sourced ciders, meads, and perries in a warm, rustic atmosphere. Located at 503 South 7th Street, next to Obed and Isaac's and across from Lincoln's home, near great shopping and history in the heart of downtown Springfield. 7th Street Cidery.
If you love barbecue and tasty butts drive you nuts, wiggle on over to Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Fresh smoked barbecue that you're gonna love. What's your pleasure? Brisket, pork, chicken? Lil Willie's got it. And all of the classic sides, like homemade mac and cheese and cornbread. Follow your nose to the smoke at Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Ask about Willie's Rewards, where you get points for eating barbecue. Lil Willie's Smokehouse at the corner of South Grand and MacArthur. Wiggle Central.
For more information, visit littlewilliesbbq.com.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk.
All right, we're back and talking about the latest iteration of a gun control bill at the Illinois State House. I'm Greg Bishop with 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. And you can always follow along Bishop on Air on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Best place, though, is Twitter, where I stream a lot of different things if I come across bills, which I just came across this morning. There is a new amendment to this House bill. It's House Bill 5471, Senate Amendment 2. And we'll be going through some of this. But, of course, I want to get your phone calls at 217-629-7970. So I'm noticing this is just now filed after yesterday, the Illinois Senate's president, Don Harmon, filing legislation to control guns, and it modifies the House provision a bit. And some of the changes that were at least in the first version that was filed yesterday would ultimately, again, define assault weapons as certain semi-automatic guns, and it lists a whole bunch of those. But it would also change the House version of the prohibition on magazines. The House version started as prohibiting any more than 10 rounds in a magazine. And then when it passed the House early Friday morning, it had changed from 10 rounds to 12 rounds in a magazine. And it would also have lowered the threshold for offenses for people who have those magazines moving forward. So you're looking at a petty offense for the first violation, and then a Class 4 felony for subsequent violations. That was in the Illinois House bill, and it included a gun registry for the owners who are grandfathered in of certain semi-automatic guns. So we were looking for that particular bill, which I believe was Senate Bill 2226, if my memory is correct. A lot of bill numbers thrown around all over the place, but Senate Bill 2226 was the House version that passed in the early morning hours of Friday morning. We talked about it on Friday. Then you had over the weekend the Senate and House canceling Saturday, but the House, they're coming back on Tuesday. The Senate came back last night, and it was thought it was going to be a long night with the possibility of the Senate taking up abortion bills and also the proposed gun ban. But then midday Sunday, we saw that there was this bill that was filed by Senate President Don Harmon that would modify things a little bit of the House version. So Senate President Don Harmon's bill does some different things, including changing the magazine prohibitions from 12 rounds or more to instead 10 rounds or more for rifles and 15 rounds or more for handguns. And that seems to allow for a lot of the standard issued handguns that are out there. If you got a semi-automatic handgun manufactured in the past 10 years, likely it's got a 14-round magazine. So it essentially is relaxing those provisions a bit to not wrap in a whole bunch of people that have handguns as right now. But there's also some questions about whether there's a gun registry in the Senate version. But even that is expected to change as you've got the Senate Executive Committee set to hear a Senate version of gun control at 9 o'clock today. So right when we get off the air, the Senate should be acting on some kind of gun legislation. So 217-629-7970, that's the phone number. I want to hear from you, your thoughts about just the process here. But also, what do you think should happen to curb gun violence? Because that seems to be the push and the impetus of those who want gun control, is they want to curb gun violence. And in particular, not just the violence that we see regularly being reported out of Chicago, gun violence in Decatur and Springfield, Peoria, Rockford, and elsewhere, but also mass shootings like what happened on July 4th of last year in Highland Park. So this proposed gun bill, it's now got a different amendment that's been filed, and we'll go through some of this. And I'm just finding this morning as we're live on the air, so appreciate your patience in going through this, but it's a good 100 pages or so. And it has some of the same language that the other Senate version had, including creating a task force to go after gun trafficking, a strike force of sorts. That was in the House bill. But going through it as well, and when you look at legislation, you got to look for the stuff that's underlined and crossed out. That's what's changing. But it does define assault weapons. Also says the endorsement affidavit form completed pursuant to whatever section of the criminal code must be executed electronically through the individual's firearm owner identification card account. Gives state police some rules to adopt. Goes on with other changes to the current law with underlined provisions. Going through here, looking at more of, and again, this is live as we just now see this bill. You're looking at it with me. It says the firearm restraining order can be renewed for an additional period of up to 1 year. That's after extending the firearm restraining order from 6 months to a full year. Goes on to talk more about that. Pouring through pages of legislation here as we're seeing it, and this all developing this morning as they prepare for a hearing in the Senate Executive Committee to take up this proposed bill. But before we go through more of this, the governor, he didn't like the Senate's version. Yesterday, after it was filed as an amendment, the governor put out a statement saying every time a weapon of war, and this is his quote, is used to inflict the maximum amount of damage in the shortest amount of time, we mourn for the lives lost and communities shattered. Enough's enough, he said. The people of this state deserve a real assault weapons ban, one that has a real accounting of the weapons currently in circulation and a real chance of ceasing the flow of more weapons of war immediately. We need a bill that meets the urgency of now, and the current version of the Senate falls short. Also, House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch saying that as Speaker of the House, I'll stand firm on our values and principles as Democrats. I will fight for the needs of Illinoisans and will not accept watered-down version of legislation that falls unacceptably short of the comprehensive solutions that the people of the state deserve. So you're seeing a bit of pushback from members of the Democratic Party against the Senate version. But let's go through and look at what we've got so far when it comes to witness slips. And this is the process that the public can have of filing opposition or support for bills. So again, the Executive Committee this morning, they are doing a subject matter on House Bill 5471, which is the gun bill. And I think they're also going to be hearing about House Bill 4664. I think that has to deal with abortion. But you've got got House Bill 5471 that has a new amendment added to it. And you're looking at the witness slips here. The proponents, 40. The opponents, 5,174. That's just from the overnight hours when yesterday, late in the day in the Senate, late in the night, the Senate announced they were going to adjourn, but they were going to come back for an unscheduled day on Monday today. So they're going to go into executive committee. They're going to talk about this Senate amendment, and then they're going to go to inauguration at 11:30 with the governor and other statewide constitutional officers, and then the Senate's going to go into session at 1:30 or whenever inauguration's finished up and they can get back to the Capitol for session. And that's when it's expected they're going to be hammering these things out before Wednesday, which is the beginning of the new General Assembly. So they've got session this afternoon for the Senate. They've got session on Tuesday for the House and the Senate. And then it's got to start from scratch if they don't pass this stuff. Your thoughts on all of this? 217-629-7970. We'll get more of your calls after the break. I promise. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, young Gregory.
What's up?
Hey, not much. Well, I hate to say it, I do disagree with the governor simply because he's using an inflammatory commentary. A weapon of war by federal law is defined as a weapon over a certain caliber, over 50 calibers, and also a weapon capable of firing fully automatic, which are already under federal law banned.
You've got to have a special federal license to be able to possess fully automatic weapons. You can go to like places in Las Vegas, even here in the state of Illinois, that people have these types of licenses and they have fully automatic weapons, but they have to go through rigorous background screening with the federal officials.
Yeah, the federal government keeps a real close tab
Yes,
on those. If there's an issue, they can pull it, and they can actually go in and take the weapons without a.
There's a lot of regulations, and I appreciate the call. We got more coming in at 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Greg. I hope they continue to look at the pistol part of the ban, because a lot of the manufacturers of any pistol, and correct me if I'm wrong, they don't make magazines that are like above, unless you're talking a 22. So when you stop it at 15, I have quite a few 22s, and those are just target pistols. That's far from any kind of an assault weapon.
But it can still do a lot of damage, and that's what people have been saying is, you can ban all these guns, but even a 22 can do some damage and kill people.
I get it. A gun's a gun, but what I'm saying is that's in general a target pistol, and a lot of those come with 16 rounds because they're such a small caliber.
Right.
So I hope they look at that, maybe put something in there that just looks at the rifle part like they seem to be doing.
Yeah.
And leave the pistols alone, because, yes, people are going to call in and say, oh, yeah, you can buy a magazine that will fit in a pistol that's more. But then you're going beyond its intended purpose, and they should put something in there maybe like that beyond the manufacturer, like that's what it comes with.
Well, and here's the thing. All this is going to change just in a handful of hours here. And that's why it's important that I do what I do to keep you informed as best as possible. But again, 217-629-7970. Your thoughts. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm pretty sure that the Floyd card has been ruled unconstitutional. And so by that being inside this new law, I'm pretty sure that's not going to stand up. Then the United States...
We lost you. Call back in. We got to take a break. We'll get more of your calls, I promise, at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here now, 750. Got to take that break. Stay tuned. More coming up. From Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
A new start. For many of us, all we want right now is a new start. If plans for your new start include starting or growing your own business, you can get the help you need from the Illinois Small Business Development Center for Central Illinois. The Illinois SBDC provides professional guidance for business growth. So, when you need help creating a business plan to get a loan, are looking for ways to grow or save your existing business, or are wondering how you can move your startup dreams to reality, you can go to the Illinois SBDC for help. Since the Illinois SBDC is a partnership of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Illinois Department of Commerce, and our local supporters, you can get the help you need at no charge. We're getting a new start too. So find us on the web to get started with an appointment with one of the professional advisors at the Illinois SBDC, the Illinois Small Business Development Center for Central Illinois. It's where to go when you need a new start for your business.
Hello, Lauterbach Man here. People often come by and they say to me, Lauterbach Man, how do you manage to stay outside all winter? But because they're so short, it just sounds like... But I get the gist. It's cold out, and how can a fella like me endure the cold? Because at Lauterbach Tire, we understand staying outside in the cold. Your car does it every single winter. Oh yes, it challenges the batteries and belts and important fluids, but does it ever break down? No, because you brought your car to my top team of automotive technicians. Winter is tough on us all, but it doesn't have to be tough on your car. We'll make sure it's happy to start up in the morning. Oh, somebody else down there is asking me something. How zebras, tomato soup, hamper, shoelace? I can't understand you. No, it's because you're short. Sorry. Lauterbach Man at Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. We fix cars so you can drive safely now.
Hey, John, when you think of the word supply chain, what's your next impulse?
No, turn off the news, run for cover, start whimpering.
Yeah, well, a customer of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World wrote in that they visited the store wanting to buy a microwave.
Something that used to be so simple.
Oh, right. You know what they walked out with?
Let me guess. A microwave.
Exactly. Dick Van Dyke had what they needed in stock, and the customer also remarked as to how helpful the salespeople were, too. Supply chain problems are still a thing, but this customer got the help they needed, and they wrote in to thank us.
You know, a little less whimpering in today's world can't be a bad thing.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Supply chain issues are minimized when you have multiple locations and people who know how to help you with your next purchase. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Why waste another night on a mattress that's not comfortable or supportive? This is Caleb Kitzman with Verlo Mattress. Our mattresses aren't dropped off by the truckload like most mattress stores. At Verlo, we handcraft every mattress in our local factory. That means we custom fit a mattress for you, not the other way around. Stop in this month and pair any of our mattresses with an adjustable base and get up to $200 off. Verlo Mattress. We're not just building a better mattress, we're building a better night's sleep for less.
Save up to $600 during Verlo's clearance sale.
Right now, during the Verlo mattress clearance sale, you can save even more with Verlo's already low consumer direct prices. Oh, you'll find phenomenal savings on floor models and discontinued mattresses. And all our mattresses are made locally, just for you, and are backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Oh, but you better hurry. The sale ends soon. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, we've been taking your calls about a proposed gun control bill at the Illinois State House, with the state Senate having now one version, yet another version filed this morning, and we're looking at some of that, but taking your phone calls at 217-629-7970. On YouTube, a listener says under House bill, you'd need to surrender magazines. Senate bill grandfathers the pre-ban mags. And some of the language I did see in the first Senate bill included allowing for those magazines to be possessed and allowing for semi-automatic guns to be possessed, but only on private property, at a licensed gun range, at a licensed dealer, or transporting back and forth unloaded in a case. So you've got those provisions that are in the Senate bill, and that's led to Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that it's too watered down. And we'll see exactly what happens. But looking at the most recent amendment, the second Senate amendment that was filed this morning, that's expected to be heard in a Senate Executive Committee, it goes on to say that there needs to be an affidavit filed filed with state police for those so-called assault weapons. And I'm curious, though, how this rubs up against the Fifth Amendment, right? I mean, if you're going to be attesting to something that you could have that is listed as an assault weapon, does that violate your Fifth Amendment rights of self-incrimination? So interesting to see if that comes up at all. But going through the legislation here, and again, you can chime in at 217-629-7970. We've got about 3 minutes left for you to get your voice heard on this. We'll talk more about it in the next segment as well, so stay tuned. But looking at this bill, some more detail goes on to talk about the affidavit process and what needs to be included with the FOID card holder's number and what kind of weapon they have and so on. A lot of concern about creating a registry, and that could lead to confiscation is the kind of go-to argument that a lot of people in the Second Amendment support space worry about. But it goes on to talk about who's exempt from this, and that includes law enforcement, military members, jailers, Olympic athletes, and hunters and so on. But it lays out that possession of these things are allowed on personal property. Going through here, and again, this is the Second Amendment that the Senate has filed. It talks about large capacity magazines. It says that handguns in Illinois, the capacity limits would be no more than 10 rounds for a long gun and 15 rounds for handguns and ammunition magazines for handguns. Talks more about definitions and where you can hold them, private property, a licensed firearm dealer or a gun range while traveling. Also talks about what some of the penalties would be. And this is interesting because it differs from the penalties in the House version. The penalties, let me see if I can pull this up quick, going through this live on air as we just now get this. But a person who knowingly manufactures, delivers, sells, purchases, or causes it to be manufactured or purchased in violation of the section is going to be given a petty offense with a fine of $1,000 for each violation. So that right there is different from the House version, which first violation was a petty offense with a $1,000 fine, but then subsequent violations were a Class 4 felony. So different there, but interesting to see how this is all going to come together with the Senate set to hear this in a Senate Executive Committee at 9 o'clock today. Then they're going to take a break for inauguration to welcome in the next round of statewide elected officials, and then at 1:30, the Illinois Senate's going to go back into session where they could take up the gun bill, plus a bill about abortion, and who knows what else. It has not been lame at all for lame duck session as we rapidly approach the end of this General Assembly in the final hours. We'll bring you the latest, and of course you can follow along Bishop on Air on Twitter. That's BISHOPONAIR on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Like and subscribe for the live show each and every weekday morning here from 6 to 9 on WMAY. It's 8 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is